ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב הנה מה טוב יאללה לילה 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 הנה מה טוב הנה מה טוב יאללה לילה 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 לילה
Hands together. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I heard cantor. That's good. Shabbat Shalom.
There you go.
Kelly Richmond, Shabbat Shalom. All right. Friends, and we all are friends here. We all are friends here. It is wonderful to be here at Temple Emanu-El on a Shabbat morning for an Aiden Mokatov bar mitzvah to lead us in prayer. I will tell you that this is, look, Aiden's bar mitzvah is going to be special no matter what. The fact is that this is the first time that we've been in this formation and without Mass since COVID began. So this is a really big deal. I feel like we're gonna have lots of moments of gratitude as we go through our service, but the fact that we are back to this particular place and I can stand up here and I can put my arm around you like this is a really big deal for all of us. We want to welcome our digital viewers. Folks, if you look above you, you'll see cameras, and we have digital viewers who are tuning in from all over, from San Francisco to Boston to exotic Dunwoody, Georgia. And we welcome everybody here. I want to give a special shout out to our Temple Emanu-El members. Thank you for allowing the Torah of this place to happen. Cantor Lorna Desnick. I'm Rabbi Spike Anderson. Underneath your chairs, you will have a red siddur, a red prayer book. And if you go down and give it a reach, you will find it. Okay, Davis guys in the back, you should all have your red prayer book out. Thank you. Okay. So, as you will go through, you'll see that most of the prayers that are in here on the right, you'll see the Hebrew. And on the left, you'll see the English, and in the middle, you'll see transliteration. For some of us, the language may be difficult, or the prayers or the tunes may be unfamiliar, so clap, snap, tap, la la la. God understands la 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 just fine. This is a highly participatory service. So, the energy that you all give to Aiden, he's going to put it back to you. Imagine that you're a mirror and he's a mirror, and there's a light going back and forth between these two mirrors. So we need you to participate. You'll see that there's some of the prayers which have responsive readings and italics. That's when we all jump in. A couple more housekeeping things as we go. For those who have a reading, and you know who you are because you've been handed a piece of paper, okay? You're going to come stand right over here, and this is where you're going to do your reading from. That way you can look at Aiden, okay, and look at your reading and see the congregation. Clear? Okay. If we needed to leave quickly for any reason, it's good to know where the emergency exits are. So behind you, this is my shortest impression, behind you, okay, here, and if we need to, behind the bima. Sound good? Okay. Cell phones, off please. Apple Watches, stilled. Now, most importantly, let's take a moment and turn to the people around you, in front of you, behind you. Hello, my name is Shabbat Shalom. Ask me about my cat. Let's get to know the people around us, please.
So wait, I just to know like which songs are like songs that are like prayer. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
All right, and now that we all know each other, and there will be a quiz at the end, we're back to page 3 for Hine Mato Friends. Please join in with us.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. Let's clap our hands. Yeah, la 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 la. Beautiful energy. טוב, הנה מה טוב. La 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 la. Keep it going. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Cantor, you may want to put yourself up a little bit.
Oh, thank you very much.
So I'm going to invite up sisters Isabel and Sophia to come on up for the Talit presentation. And although it's not, come on up, and though it's not planned, I also want Jeff and Julia to come up as well.
How's that, Rabbi?
I think better.
Okay.
Okay. So, Aiden, there are signposts along the way of what we're doing this morning, which is a rite of passage, meaning in the next 90 minutes you go from being a Jewish boy to a Jewish man. Abracadabra, all right? It's amazing. And there's sociological implications to this, there's religious ones, there's spiritual ones, but the idea is that you are, in the next 90 minutes, being recognized publicly as an adult in the Jewish community, okay, which is a very big deal. How do you get there? Well, like most rites of passage, there's been a lot of work to get here, right? There's an explanation that you're giving of your Torah and the Torah reading that you're doing and leading us in prayer. All this is public. As one of the ways that we recognize you are changing social status is the Talos. So according to the tradition, last month, last week, even yesterday, you weren't allowed to publicly wear your talis because you're a boy. Now, for the first time publicly, you're going to be presented with your talit and you'll wear it as a sign of being a Jewish man. So sisters, if you will lead us on page 5 for the presentation of the talis.
Oh, and head.
I'm going to hand you this.
As this talit is draped around your shoulders, may the voices of the generations speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on earth.
As you are embraced in the folds of this talit, so too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and this holy congregation. May this simplest of garments always be for you a symbol of God's abiding and sheltering presence.
As you recite the blessing and wrap yourself in this talit, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of our tradition.
Okay, now Aiden, you're going to read the blessing over the talis.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahatite b'tzitzi.
We all say,
Amen.
Okay, so now, let's put down the mic and you're going to take the talis, both of you, and you're going to wrap it around your brother's shoulders with the Torah on top. I'm just going to turn down the edge like this. All right, that'll work just fine. Okay, now, Mom and Dad, come right around here. I want your arms around each other, your whole family. Get Aiden in there. Okay. So we know, friends, community, we know that communities come together for all sorts of reasons. Sometimes those reasons are sad. This one, super happy, super amazing. So what we Jews do when we know we're in a particular type of time, okay, a holy time, is we recite the Shehechianu prayer. Literally, thank you, God, that we're here, that we're together, that we're breathing. And may we have this type of moment, this type of connection, this type of holiness again and again and again. Please join us on page 5 for Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. Amen.
All right, give him a squeeze, a hug, and a kiss. Yeah. Then you guys can all head back down except for Aiden. Okay. Aiden, will you lead us on page 6?
God be with me on this occasion of my bar mitzvah. Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain me with a sense of holiness, inspire me in a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the directions of my life. I ask only that you strengthen within me the desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bar mitzvah, I invoke your blessings upon my parents and friends and all who have loved me and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment in my growth and my achievement. You who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Amen.
So friends, on page 7, we've got Nasim B'chol Yom, the daily miracles. And each one of these is meant to be taken both literally and metaphorically. So for instance, blessed are you, eternal God, who brings freedom to the captive, both people who are actually captive or oppressed or held down, and metaphorically, right? So as we're going through these, and Aiden's going to lead us, we all respond with an amen at the end of each one. But when we're done, I'm going to ask a few of you to share which one of these is most meaningful to you today, meaning which one has your name on it and why. So pay attention because you may get called on, okay? So this is on page 7, Nasim B'chol Yom. Aiden, whenever you're ready.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sechvi bina l'chavin bein yom uvein laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokei ach ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam honatein laya eif koach.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shena me enai ut numa me afapai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tselem Elohim.
Amen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorin.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otzer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otzer Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
Okay, friends, take a look through and see which of the ones from page 7 to page 9 most speak to you? Which one has your name on it this morning? And heads up, if you're in the Mokatov Havurah, you might get called on sooner than others. So take a look through. Anybody care to share which one of these is most speaking to you this morning? Why don't we say our name when I hand you the microphone?
So I'm Norman Zoller, and I always enjoy reading. There are 13 of these blessings, and today as I skimmed them, number 9 caught my eye, and it catches my eye frequently because it allows you to...
Which one is it?
Number 9 is the one which says to remove sleep from the eyes and slumber from the eyelids.
Yeah.
It means another day.
Another day.
We've made it through the night, and here we are to celebrate and to have a good time today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, okay, love it. Say your name, okay.
Hi, I'm Michelle Young, Auntie Shell. The one that struck me was the Pokeach Ivrim, who opens the eyes of the blind, because for so long we've been wearing masks and not seeing each other, and all of a sudden we see everybody's faces. It's so good to see everyone.
It is, right? I mean, it's a big thing. Thank you. Okay, I saw a hand over here. Didn't I? Is that Wendy?
Hi, I'm Wendy Frank, and the one that talks about giving strength to the weary is where I am this time of the year. Is wonderful with spring and also very busy with mitzvahs and graduations and children.
All good things. May we have lots of good things to come. Okay. Which one is speaking to you this morning? Tell us your name. We want to stand up.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Stark, and the one that I was looking at was the one about making firm each person's steps.
Yeah, why is that important to you?
Well, it just seems that every time I wake up in the morning, there's something, some challenge.
Yeah, yeah. Life can be hard.
Yes, so yes, and living with Lloyd.
Yes.
So yes, so
Good.
it's we need to have firm steps.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, yeah.
Hi, I'm Naomi Weller. I'm throwing in two.
Two, okay, extra
To break
credit.
the rules, just to break the
Overachiever.
rules, yes.
All right.
So the first one is bringing freedom to the captive, because of course on the news with everything that's going on in Ukraine, I
Yes.
just think of that immediately. But then the same as the gentleman over there, but it meant something different to me.
Summer from the eyelids? The summer from the eyelids one?
Yes, slumber from the eyelids
Yeah.
one, yes. Because in my mind, I see it as kind of like awakening, a change, and I'm in the midst of big changes, and spring is around the corner, so.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay.
Good morning. I chose the who made me in the image of God.
Yeah.
Because I'm so proud of my son, the baby, who worked so hard. And I feel God's presence and holiness and love, and just so grateful we can all have this in-person experience together and elevate this moment.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you for that, Julie. Diane, great. Tell us who you are.
Diane Jaslow. I was looking at Blessed Are You, the Eternal our God, whose power lifts up the fallen, because I'm thinking a lot about the Ukraine situation, and that struck me.
Yeah.
How are you? Good. My name's Devin Rifkin, and there are two. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who brings freedom to the captive in Russia, and blessed are you, the eternal our God, who lifts up the fallen in Ukraine.
Beautiful. Good to see you. Making sure we don't miss anybody. Make sure your phones are way back here, okay? Anybody? You good? Okay. Aiden, any of these speak to you this morning?
Yes.
Which one has your name on it?
Bechol Yom, so Recha Vehilasima and every day I'll bless you and praise your name forever and ever.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, friends, we are on page 13. Page 13. Thank you for that, everybody. So you'll see the italics. So Aiden's going to lead us, and you'll see the italics, and that's our part to read together. Okay, you ready?
Yep. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
Together, may it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harshness.
May the synagogue be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We rise for Baruch, page 15. You're going to lead us on page 15 for Yotzer Or, which is our prayer that we say each morning with this idea that we are thanking God for creating the world and the universe. Okay, that's good. It's a hard one to wrap our heads around. And so the second part of this is we are thanking God that each day that we wake, we have a chance to recreate ourselves and our environment anew by the choices we make, how we speak to other people, how we look at the world, our steps, our decisions, how we drive, what we buy, how we vote. All of these things help us recreate the world around us every day. We are not locked in or cemented in to what happened yesterday and yesteryear. We have some control over what we do and the world around us. Yotzer Or on page 15.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choseh shalom uvorei et hakol hameir la'aretz v'la'darim elecha b'rachamim uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh b'reishit ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam b'chochma asita ma'a ha'aretz kinyanecha Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shavach ma'aseh yadecha ve'al moreh or she'asita yefaru asela or chadash al tzion ta'ir v'niksechu anu mehire le'ora baruch atah Adonai yotzer hamaro.
Amen. And then on page 16 you've got Ahava Rabbah, which speaks about God's abundant love, both for us as a Jewish people and you as an individual. And this is always an interesting one because it speaks about God's special relationship with the Jewish people, which doesn't mean, of course, that God doesn't have a special relationship with other peoples as well, right? So Julie and Jeff, you've got 3 kids. Each of them are very different from the others, right? And you love each of them to the moon and back, right? There's no end to your love. So that the love that you have for one doesn't detract from the love that you have from the others. Each one you have a unique and amazingly special relationship with, which is sacred to you. Same thing with God's love for each of us as a people and each of us as individual peoples. Okay, Aiden, Ahava Rabbah, when you're ready.
Ahava Rabbah, Ahavtanu Adonai, Eloheinu Chemla, Gedola, V'tira, Chamalta, Elenu, Ba'avur Avotenu, V'imotenu, Shabbat Chu, V'chavat Lamdeim, Chukei Chaim, Kenta Chonenu, Utlamdenu, Cham Rahem, Rahem Elenu, V'tein Bilbenu, V'havin Ul Haskil, V'shma Lamod, Ul Amed. Lishmor v'la'asot u'kayim et kol divrei Talmud Torateha be'ahava baruch atah Adonai chavacher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava.
Right. And we can all feel our feet on the floor. We're going to take a nice deep breath together and get ready for our Shema on page 18.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Adonai Echad, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod.
Please be seated. You see it on page 18, the V'ahavta, which is the second part of the Shema. And the V'ahavta prayer, Aiden, is a prayer that in it asks a certain question. And the question is, when is it we're supposed to be our best selves? When is it we're supposed to have God on our mind? When is it that we're supposed to lead with our Jewish orientation? And the answer that comes in the prayer is, well, when you're laying down, and when you're on your way, and when you're at home, and in other words, always. But it's very hard to do anything mindfully always. Very, very hard. How can you always be mindful of something like that? And so the prayer reminds us that we have reminders, all around us, that we have our best aspirational self that we can be. Because the reality is, my friend, that there's lots of static in the world. There's lots of static that confuses that message, that we have an aspirational self that we can be. There's lots of competing messages, right? Lots of things that are competing for your attention. So what are the reminders of your best Jewish self? Well, your Jewish community, your Jewish school, your mezuzah on your door, your brand new Talos, right? All of the Judaica in your home. There are reminders all around you that you're part of something big, you're part of something internal, and you've got a prime place in it. V'ahavta on page 18.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinatam levanecha ve'dibartam ve'shivtecha b'beitecha u'b'latzecha b'derech u'shokvecha v'knumecha u'shartam levot al yadecha ve'hayu v'totafot b'einecha u'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'yisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני
Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
I'd like to call up cousins Corey and Emily Weller to lead the reading on page 19, responsive reading. So you go right up to the microphone over there. Whenever you're ready.
Adonai, our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt. You made us free.
You were in the courage with which we overcame 40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are in the hope that, like a beam of light, brightens the darkness of suffering and despair.
You were in the love that creates, protects, forgives.
Standing at the sea, we felt your goodness and your love, and we sang a new song to you.
And still today, we sing that song.
We praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Page 20, Michamocha.
So let's bring up that energy again and start out by clapping our hands and sending all of your joy, Shabbos joy, up to Aiden. Keep that rhythm going, and here we go. ודחנו בך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל.
Please rise.
ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We join in singing what the Israelites proclaimed after they had successfully crossed the sea, and we find in their redemption the strength to seek our own. The struggle carries us into the Amidah, a prayer of becoming, of transformation, of divine human partnership that brings grace into our lives and into our world. Page 21, our Amidah.
Handheld mic. Handheld. And reach.
Okay, and turn this way.
Adonai sefatifta ufi agitei latecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Hasei Avot V'imot, U'mevi Gilula Livnei B'neihem, U'man Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magid, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol atah Rav V'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem,
מחלקל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רמים, סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשמני עפר, מלחמה בגבורות, ומדום אליו, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה החיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
I'd like to invite up cousins Luca and Sienna Mokatov on page 23 to lead us in our prayer. We'll do this responsively, so they'll lead us and we'll all join in.
Many are the ways of holiness, varied are its paths.
There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There's holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There's holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There's holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai, our God.
Kiddusha on page 24.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. Hallelujah, sing after me. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור, נגיד גאלך. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור, נגיד גאלך. כי המלך נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. Here comes your part. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
נגיד גאלך.
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור, נגיד גאלך. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Amen. Please be seated. Aidan, will you lead us on page 25 responsibly?
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit. It mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break in the routine of everyday life.
Shabbat is a symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength, and a perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life in love and harmony. A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is a part of nature's design, the very purpose of creation. All that was created attained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. Yismechu is on page 26. If you are online, I bar and bat mitzvah kit here for credit. This is where you tell us who you are and what you're grateful for this Shabbat. Page 26, Yismechu. Call up cousins Ivy and Lucy Andelman to lead us on page 27.
Our world is full of wonders and miracles, but all it takes is one little hand placed before our eyes, and we see nothing.
Together, but miracles are all around us and within us. We are each walking miracles.
When we are bruised, what miracles heal us? When we see beauty, what miracles elevate us? When we hear music, what miracle moves us?
When we see suffering, what miracle saddens us? When we give and receive love, what miracle warms us? When we pray, what miracle renews us?
Every springtime is a miracle. Every snowflake is a miracle. The thoughts we think, the words we speak, the hopes we cherish, each is a miracle.
For all these miracles, may your name be exalted and blessed forever and ever. And I'd like to invite up sisters Isabel and Sophia to lead us on page 28. Come on up.
Our God, we know there is no greater gift than peace. Help us to find the peace that comes from the love of your Torah.
Bloodshed and bigotry. Help us to establish forever one human family, doing your will in love and peace.
Help us to find peace in ourselves and among all people. O God of peace, bless us with peace.
You have given us the power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world. May we always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Blessed is God, teacher of peace. Sim Shalom, page 28.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Try that with me, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Galilei, Galilei, Galilei,
I would invite everyone to take a moment of silent meditation, silent reflection, silent prayer, silent communion. And in that silence, what is it that you hear? Strange is our situation here on earth. Each of us has come for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to divine a purpose. From the standpoint of daily life, however, there is one thing we do know, that we are here for the sake of humanity, for the countless unknown souls with whose fate we are connected by a bond of sympathy. Many times a day I realize how my own outer and inner life is built on the labors of my fellow human beings, both living and dead, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received and am still receiving. Page 30, Oseh Shalom.
Yehiyu l'ratzoni merti. May the words of my mouth and meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Yehiyu l'ratzon imrefi, imrefi.
To come on up to the bima. Jeff and Julie, the parents' blessing on page 31 is a mashup of different sayings from the Talmud written by our sages, and those sages were not only great spiritual thinkers, but they were parents as well. So on this day, nice and close if you will, on this day, I invite you to share these words with your son.
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be.
May your heart be filled with intuition and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue and your vision be on a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom and your fulfillment be in righteousness.
A Jewish home opens its heart, and its link to the generations is proclaimed. Today, our child, nearly grown, is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation.
May this moment be blessed.
That's a hug, hug, kiss, kiss moment. Yeah. I invite the congregation to rise, please. And I'd like to invite up grandparents Sharon and Neil Andelman, Bonnie and Michael Mokatoff, as well as Aunt and Uncle Jay and Julie Mokatoff and Uncle Jamie Andelman. Jay and Julie are going to open the ark, and Jamie's going to prepare to undress the Torah. So come on up. We are on page 32.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'devar Adonai mirushalayim, baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato.
Beautiful. Okay, grandparents, hang out right there. I don't care about the order. I just don't want anybody to hit a step. Okay? All right. Aiden, I need you. Come on up, right over here. And Jeff and you and Julie can be together on either side. Super. Good. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Pretty good. Good. I want you to take a moment, and I want you to look out here at all these folks who are here because they love you and care about you and support you. Go ahead, you can give them a wave. You really can. This is where you're connecting with them. These folks are here because they love and support you, which means that they're going to pay for college. In all seriousness, Aiden, you and the Torah are here because of the decisions that have come from the generations before you, right? And you are here because you are the latest link in a long, long chain of tradition. I know in your family, door to door is everything. From generation to generation is everything. And it is such a big deal to your parents and to your family and to your community that you are here. And not just here, Hineni here, but in the midst of your bar mitzvah. The decisions of those who came before you, you've got your parents, and behind your parents you're going to see your grandparents. If you look behind your grandparents, you're going to see your great-grandparents. You know what I mean by that? And your great-great-great and great-great-great. You can imagine the Jewish generations circling this sanctuary again and again and again, and we believe that they're here and that they're smiling because of what you're doing, which is such a big deal, taking on the responsibilities and the privileges of being a Jewish adult in our community. So now symbolically, we will pass the Torah down through the generations, give it a kiss or a hug or whatever you like to do. There you are. Okay, good. It's Mom. We're actually going to pass Torah to Dad. Okay, now Ada, I want you to come right over here, and I want you to face Dad. Wait, Dad doesn't throw it at his back. Okay, right onto his right shoulder. Okay. Hold it like a baby. You got it? Okay, we're all going to turn and face.
Page 33 at the top. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
ark.
turn around and face the ark. Very good. God's Adonai iti. Uniromema Shema Yachtav. Aiden, you're going to follow the rabbi and family. Lecha Adonai Hagedula, Hagevura, Vehatiferet, Vehanetzach, Vehahod. Ki kol bashamayim uvaretz, ki kol bashamayim uvaretz. Lecha Adonai hamelacha, ve'mitnaseh lechol rosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Who's undressing?
Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Beautiful. We can be seated. We can close the ark. Grandparents, if you want to stay up here, that would be fun. You can just be. So, friends, if you reach under your seat, you're going to find a blue book that says the Torah on it. Now, you'll find two books that are blue. You really need the one that says the Torah on it. The other one's a different service. We're going to be, when I say we, Aiden's going to be chanting from Shmini from the book Leviticus, which is chapters 10, starting at verse 1. You'll find that on page 800 in that book that says the Torah, edited by Gunther Plaut, Rabbi. For those who, folks are up here, you can either be seated or be seated up here, whatever you like to do, okay? For those who, raise your hand if you think you've been to one bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah before. Keep them up if you've been to 10, 50, 100. Okay, I'm going to stop at 100. Think you get a place in the Olam Haba, the world to come. So whether you've been to none or one or 100, do not forget that what Aiden is doing is really hard. And that is chanting in the original, from a scroll, with no cantillation marks, no vowels. This is not months of preparation, it's years of preparation. And Aiden, as you do this, you add your voice to literally hundreds of Jewish generations, millions of Jewish kids who have become adults in the way that you are doing right now. We're very proud of you. Cantor, over to you.
Okie dokie, we are going to invite up proud grandparents for the first honor of Aliyah number 1, Michael and Bonnie Mokotov. And Rabbi, if you can grab that handheld mic and get it ready for them, thank you. Ya'amdu Mordechai ben Yonko, Belach bat Avraham, La'aliyah la Torah. The verses are right over there with this big. Yes.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaBaruch Le'olam V'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayikehu b'nei Aharon Nadav v'Avihu ish machtato vayitenu ben esh vayasimu aleha ketorah vayakrivu lifnei Adonai esh zara asher lo tziva otam v'tetze esh milifnei Adonai v'tochelotam vayamutu lifnei Adonai vayomer Moshe el Aharon hu asher diber Adonai le'mor bikrova ekadesh ve'el pnei kol ha'am ekadeh vayadi Aharon.
Yasher koach. Beautiful.
Grandparents.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Hugs and kisses. Beautiful. Yasher koach. And you can stay right up here, yes, as I call up for the honor of our second Aliyah grandparents and sisters, Neil and Sharon Andelman, and Isabel and Sophia Mogotov. Ya'amad Nehemiah ben Mincha, Sitka bat Avraham, Davida bat Avraham v'chaya, Pnina bat Avraham v'chaya, La'aliyah la Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayikru Moshe el Mishael ve'el Tafan b'nei Uziel dod Aharon vayomer alehem kirvu se'u et achehem me'et pnei hakodesh el mihutz lamachaneh vayikreva vayise'em behutonotam el mihutz lamachaneh ka'asher diber Moshe vayomer Moshe el Aharon ve'el Elazar u'leitamar banav ra'ashehem el hafrua uvigdehem lo tifromu ve'lo tamutu ve'al kol ha'edah yiksov b'ahahem kol be'Yisrael yivku et hasrefa asher saraf Adonai.
Yasher koach. Beautiful job.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notav b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Lots of hugs for Aiden. You guys can be seated. Careful of the wire. You may want to decide to go. Torah, come on over here and hang out right up here. And it is my pleasure and my honor to invite up Mom and Dad for the honor of the third Aliyah, Jeff and Julie. Ya'amdu Abraham ben Mordechai v'Belech Chaya bat Nechemia v'Tzedka la'Aliyah LaTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Atah.
Baruch
Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Umi petach ohel moed lo tetsu pentamutu kishemen mishcha Adonai Elohem v'yasu kitvar Moshe v'yidaber Adonai el Haron leimor yayin v'shechar al tesh Atach uvanecha itach bevahem el helmoed v'lo tamutu hukatolam ledorotehem.
Kol hakavod, yasher koach. Mom and Dad, you're up.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Big hug to Mom and Dad. And so Aiden, you're gonna go have a seat where I can see you right over there in one of those chairs. Yep, Mom and Dad are gonna hang out over here. And there's tissues, so it's good. These are good. This is a full tears of blessing. So Aiden, why am I asking you to sit down before your fourth Aliyah? So what is about to happen is really quite momentous. And Aiden, the reason why it's quite momentous is because you have been moving towards this moment since you were born. And what you're about to do, when I call up your Hebrew name, not yet, is you'll walk up to the Torah scroll. By going up, we call that in Hebrew Aliyah, or Aliyat HaTorah. You are elevating or rising up to the Torah. And in doing so, you are literally walking into becoming a bar mitzvah. As soon as you complete your final Torah blessing, you will have morphed from Aiden Mokatov, fabulous kid, into Aiden Mokatov, bar mitzvah, fabulous young man, active participant in your Jewish community. And in doing so, Aiden, what you are demonstrating physically for us, you are also moving upward in a spiritual way. And I also say moving deeper in a spiritual way. Building those deeper, holy, sacred connections to Judaism, but and also to your family, and the whole Jewish community worldwide, and also your secular community. This is what becoming bar mitzvah is all about. And from this moment on, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, you will now always be a bar mitzvah. So it is my honor, my pleasure to invite you forward for your Aliyat HaBar Mitzvah. Yamad HaBachor HaBar Mitzvah. Avshalom and Avraham v'Chaya. La'Aliyah LaTorah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamara.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Ulehavdil ben hakodesh uvein hachol uvein hatameh uvein hatahor ulehoro b'nei Israel et kol ha'okim asher diber Adonai alehem b'yad Moshe vayidaber Moshe el Aharon ve'el Elazar ve'el Itamar banav hanotarim kehu et hamincha hanoteret mishe Adonai vehu amatzot etzel hamizbeah ki kodesh kodashim he. Thank you.
Take your stuff. See. Blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata b'tolchenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Beautiful. Okay. Julie and Jeff, will you come on over here? I want you to put a hand on Aiden's shoulders, flank him, and ask the congregation to rise, please.
That's beautiful.
Aiden, beautifully done. Beautifully done. So we're going to give you in front of the open Torah, we're going to give you a special Misha Berach blessing. And this is one for your continued spiritual development. The idea and the hope is that this moment and today acts as a spiritual cornerstone for you. Something that you can push off of, going wherever you're going to go, but also always being able to find your way back to a spiritual cornerstone. So we'll do it in Hebrew and then in English together. Mishaberach Avotenu Vimotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech et Avshalom ben Avraham v'Chaya Shehagia lemitzvot la'alad l'Torah Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yismei Rehu v'Chayehu v'chonen et libo L'yot shalem im Adonai Elohav. L'got b'Torah to l'lecha b'drachav l'lishmor mitzvotav. V'yim sechen v'seichel tov. B'nei Elohim v'adam v'nomar. Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Aiden, who's come up for an Aliyah upon the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah, walking in God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you find favor before God and all people. And to that we say,
Amen.
Amen. Okay, we're going to stay standing for the addressing of the Torah. I'm inviting up Naomi Weller and Jamie Andelman to address the Torah. And we are on page
36 at the
36.
top.
Okay, so I'm going to sneak in here real quick.
V'zot Torah asher sham Moshe livnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 we sing that one more time ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la
be seated. Okay, Hayden, come on up. So part of becoming a bar mitzvah is not just leading the service, which you've done beautifully, and not just chanting from the Torah, which you've done beautifully, but sharing words of Torah. This is really a mini sermon in which you interpret the words that you chanted, but also through the lens that is you, with the idea that you've got something to say about yourself and about our society that the Torah could inform us about in a profound way. So whenever you're ready, Hayden.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Leading up to my Torah portion, the high priests have been worshiping and making sacrifices inside the Holy Tabernacle. The tabernacle was a portable sanctuary where the Israelites worshipped as they wandered through the desert. When we get to my Torah portion, which is called Shemini and takes place in the book of Leviticus, God commands Aaron and his sons to offer a sacrifice so that the people can be forgiven for their sins. Instead of offering a sacrifice that God considered pure, Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, offered God alien fire. The Torah refers to the sacrifice as an alien fire because Nadab and Abihu didn't follow God's instructions. They kindled their own incense rather than use incense from the sacred altar. Recognizing the difference between a holy and unholy sacrifice, God got angry and rejected the offering. Nadab and Abihu were priests. In other words, teachers and leaders who were supposed to make the world a better place. Instead of following God's instructions, the brothers cut corners and engaged in risky behavior. As a result, they hurt people rather than help people. God got so angry with Nadab and Abihu that he killed them. The brothers did not receive a second chance. Their consequence for misrepresenting the sacrifice, for cheating, and doing many things the wrong way led to their death. Nadab and Abihu did not follow the rules. They thought they could take the easy way out and outsmart God. As a result, they paid the ultimate price. God didn't stop there. He forbids Aaron and his surviving sons from mourning the loss of Nadab and Abihu, although God does show some mercy and allow the rest of the people to mourn. God gives us rules for how to treat people and animals with respect and kindness. For example, God describes rules about how to deal justly with animals and tell the difference between pure and impure animals. These rules are the basis of kosher or keeping kosher. Kosher laws are about what we eat, but they also remind us of how to live our best lives. For example, priests were not allowed to drink alcohol before making sacrifices so that they could concentrate on their task and remain pure in thought. Another example of keeping kosher is that we are commanded not to eat predators, scavengers, or animals considered dirty or cruel. The idea is that if we avoid eating animals with negative qualities, we are less likely to take on these qualities ourselves. We want to elevate our eating habits so that we treat our bodies with respect and we can rise to our best behavior. As my parents say, treating your body right leads to a better and healthier lifestyle. Thousands of years after the story of Nadab and Abihu, the lesson still applies to my life today. I believe that if you take a foolish risk, break the rules, or cut corners, you will pay the price later. In soccer, a player on the field might not get a yellow card or eventually get called out for bad behavior the first time he makes an error. Eventually, however, bad behavior will catch up to him and he will be held accountable for his actions. When we are confronted with anger or self-entitlement in reaction to an event, we tend to let our emotions get the best of us. It's important to control our emotions because in the long run, having self-control will lead to better outcomes. What's going to separate me from being temperamental on the field and being a leader is how I handle my emotions. Nadab and Abihu had the potential to be leaders as priests, but instead their emotional reaction took control of them and they disappointed God. If I were to let my emotions take over during a game and get kicked out, my teammates would be disappointed in me because now they'd have to run down the field with a player down, which is never easy. Sometimes anger is good. It can pump me up to be the best version of myself and to encourage my team to get motivated. When we're faced with emotions that could lead us astray, we should always try to find a way to settle those emotions to be our best self. Now that I'm an adult in the eyes of the community, I know that I must be responsible for my choices. It is up to me to follow God's commandments and perform Mitzvah or good deeds. In my house, we talk a lot about tikkun olam, which means practicing acts of kindness to help repair the world. Being a good person in the world is how I live out my Jewish identity. The Jewish traditions, values, and mitzvot that guide me include observing fun and serious holidays such as Tu B'Shvat, Rosh Hashanah, and Shabbat. This is important to me because it helps me create a strong bond between me and my community. Traveling to Israel will help me strengthen my Jewish identity and connect with the land. As I become an adult in the Jewish community, I know that it is important to feed the hunger, especially food insecure children. This is important to me because children deserve access to nutritious food that will help them grow, learn, and stay healthy. I will take specific steps such as volunteering at food pantries, making lunches for organizations like Mary Hall Freedom Village, and giving to charity to help those in need. I also join a synagogue so that I can maintain my connection with Judaism and support communities in need. I don't have to wait until I'm older to help the community. I can help right now. And that's exactly what I did for my mitzvah project by raising money for and awareness for soccer in the streets. Playing any sport requires the basic equipment. Playing my best requires access to fields, coaches, uniforms, and equipment. There are some very talented kids out there who have the drive and the skills to be a great soccer player, but they don't enjoy the same resources that I do. That's why I partnered with Soccer in the Streets to help kids from underserved communities be their best on and off the field. I raised money for their agency and organized a benefit where players will pay an entry fee. For that fee, we can play soccer games judged by referees and linesmen on an AstroTurf field. It gives us a chance to exercise, kick the soccer ball around, and spend time together. 100% of the proceeds will go to the Soccer in the Streets. The tournament is scheduled for April 24th. Thanks for the generosity of our family and friends, we raised over $2,000 for Soccer in the Streets. Many people have helped me along the way, and I would like to express my gratitude. Thank you to the Temple Manual clergy for preparing for my bar mitzvah, Rabbi Spake, Rabbi Rachel, Cantor Desnik, and Joanne, my bar mitzvah tutor. I know how much you care about me and want me to succeed. It was a lot of work to get to this day, but we got here together. I'm lucky to be part of such a caring synagogue. I want to thank my grandparents for showering me with love and support. Thank you, Grandpa Michael and Grandma Bonnie, for traveling from Pittsburgh here to have a special day. Grandpa, I will always remember the Steelers games we attended and how we celebrated your 80th birthday in the Florida Keys. Grandma, I remember walking with you along the Chattahoochee River and how you knew so much about nature. I was so very impressed. I also have grandparents who travel from Boston. Papa, I love the letters you write to me. I keep them in my room along with the Red Sox hats you gave me. I always remember fishing with you in Bermuda. Nani, I love when you invite me to join you for dinner, especially Novo. You always let me order anything I want, and that makes me feel special. I would also like to thank my sisters, Isabel and Sophia. Thank you, Sophia, for the late night drives to get boba, even when you don't feel like taking me. Thank you for making room in your day to check in on me, and for the times when you make me laugh. You treat me like a friend, not just a little brother. Isabel, I know this is your second year in college. We are still close. FaceTiming with you makes me feel like you are still home. I love our Sunday movie nights, our chats about Winston, and you telling me about restaurants in Chicago. I also want to thank my parents. Dad, thanks for all the memories we have created. From watching Atlanta United games in Mercedes-Benz Stadium or Pittsburgh Steelers games at Iams Field. You're always there for me. Every weekend you drive me to my soccer games and join in the fun from the sidelines. I love playing soccer with you and appreciate you cheering me on, even if you do get a little loud. I love you. Mom, to start, thank you for always believing in everything I do and supporting me. With you, I can tell you what's on my mind, and I know you will take the time to provide a thoughtful answer. Thank you for driving me to soccer practice during the week and to friends' houses during the weekend. Thank you for cooking delicious and healthy meals. And thank you for the times when I'm hungry after school and you make me a special snack. I love taking Winston on walks with you and trying to explain soccer to you. Everything you do means so much to me. You always give me the right amount of encouragement. I love you. Shabbat Shalom.
So, Aiden, I want to thank you for allowing us to get deep, right? Allowing us to have really a moment together. That was really, really special. And I don't think anybody has a doubt that we just heard from a young Jewish man with something to say. and can bring us from A to B in a way that's really amazing. Thank you, Aiden. Want to call up Aunt and Uncle Julie and Jay Mokotov to open the Ark, and I encourage everyone to stand for a time on page 39.
Es chayim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomecha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol itivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu kekedem.
Thank you. Please be seated. So Aiden, this is the first time in 2 years that Cantor and I have been able to stand right next to the bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah to say what we're going to say, as opposed to being in the back corner. So this is really nice for us.
Oh, I think we can go up to the ark too.
For the benediction? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Come up here. We're a little out of practice.
Eden right there.
Right.
Okay.
You are right.
There we go.
Okay, yes, much better. Okay. So, Aiden, a couple things. One, I've known you, I've been here for 7 years in Atlanta, and I've known you for 7 years. And you certainly have grown and grown up as one does in 7 years. And my first impression of you, Aiden, is still my impression of you, which is that you've got relentless energy. Energy like I've never seen. And I remember your mom and I were at one of the fields for something, and you were just running and running and running and running. And I said, does he ever slow down? And he says, no. When he's sleeping, that's when he slows down. So that relentless energy is not just energy, there's a joy that comes with it. A joy of kinetic movement, a joy of connecting with other people, a joy of actively participating, and a joy of connection on a high level. You said some beautiful things in your Devar Torah. One of them I'd like to highlight, and I want the kids in the back, the Davis kids in the back, to pay attention to this as well. So you talk about Nadav and Avihu, these two who bring this Eish Zarah, this strange fire, and as a result, die. And a couple paragraphs later, there's this talk that we're not supposed to come to something important, in this case, the sacrifices, drunk. And there is a thought within Jewish tradition that the reason Nadav and Avihu died making these sacrifices is because they were drunk when they were doing it. So how does that affect our lives today? There's lots of things that we do that almost become second nature, but if we don't take them seriously, we can die from them. A prime example is driving a car. Right? We drive a car all the time, and yet if you come to that vehicle and get on the road intoxicated, you can die and you can kill somebody. So this is perhaps this warning, 4,000 years old, that there are some things that we need to do and always be sober, literally sober when we're doing them. And the hope is for you and for your friends back there, and I guess for all of us, that there will become a time in your life, if not today or next year, soon, I promise you, where you're at a party and somebody encourages you to get into a car drunk. And I want you to remember this moment right now with your friends and your family and your community, knowing that you've got this force telling you, don't get in. Okay? Don't get into that car. Encourage your friends not to get in that car. Right? And if you need to, you call your mom, you call your dad, you call me. I don't care. 3 in the morning, I promise I won't be angry. Seriously. Right? That there are some things we need to do, and we need to be sober when we're doing them, and we have to be careful because they can be dangerous. You have done an amazing job today. I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of your family for how they get involved in Temple Emanu-El, how they lead us in the social justice work that we do, in the community connections that we have, and you are a vital part of that. So my blessing for you is you continue to be this barrel of joy, of relentless energy, positive connections, and good decisions as you grow up and you bring us with you.
Aiden, I remember that relentless energy because I got to watch you when I bat mitzvahed Isabel and then Sophia, and look, here you are. And I have to say it's just such a joy to have known you all these years, to have known your family all of these years. And as you were sharing your teaching, your Dvar Torah, I was looking at your sisters, I was looking at your parents, and I saw and I still see the tears of joy and happiness, their love just beaming up to you. And why am I mentioning that? Because it's so clear, Aiden, that you have this ability to touch people, to bring out that sense of joy and love, whether you're on the field, whether you're engaging in tikkun olam, whether you are just hanging out and spending time with your family. So my blessing for you is to keep on just expressing all of who you are and keep on being that person that invites people in, from your family to all of the different communities that you will be a part of. And I know that you will always be surrounded by that kind of beaming love. Mazel tov. You're welcome.
So now Cantor and I get to invite the congregation to rise, and that we as a community, Face Cantor and I, we're going to impart to you the priestly benediction, the blessing that we've been giving to our youth at these liminal moments in time since time began as we know it.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisra Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's face turn toward you, Aiden, and grant you the greatest gift of all, which you have right now. Torah's at your back, Ner Tamid above you, surrounded by family and friends and opportunity, positive love and support, a sense of wholeness, a sense of depth, and a sense of peace. And to that we say,
Amen.
You may be seated unless you are Aiden's mom or dad, in which case we're going to ask you to come on up and say a couple words.
Aiden, your mom and I are so very proud of you for the way you treat others, for your inclusiveness of others, and for the work ethic and unrelenting passion you demonstrate toward the things you love. And while slightly trite, I want to speak your language by passing along a few quotes from the world's greatest soccer players that I hope you will continue to live and apply, not just to soccer, but to your schoolwork, your profession to be, and to life in general. This is from Cristiano Ronaldo. Talent without working hard is nothing. And I see in the crowd two of Aiden's coaches and mentors, Coach Johnny and Coach Arturo. They both understand this. You can have all the talent in the world, but without working hard, it's not going to matter. God has given you talent. And for that, we are thankful. But what will set you apart and allow you to reach your goals is hard work. And only you can control how hard you work, working hard in all facets of your life, and that, more than anything, will allow you to reach your dreams. From Pele, enthusiasm is everything. It must be taught and vibrating like a guitar string. Continue to show enthusiasm. It is infectious and helps inspire you and others to do great things. And last but not least, from Neymar, the secret in life is to believe in your dreams, in your potential that you can be like your star. Keep searching, keep believing, and don't lose faith in yourself. Life is full of adversity. You have and will overcome obstacles to reach the goals you set for yourself. But never, ever lose faith in yourself and what you may accomplish in life. I'd like to end my blessing with a prayer. We give thanks to you, O Lord our God, for the wondrous privilege of seeing Aiden grow day by day, week by week, year by year, for the health and strength you have given him, for the mind and spirit with which you endowed him, for his ability to elicit and return love. For all these precious gifts, we thank you. God, please watch over him on this special day and every day. May the teachings of our heritage guide him throughout life, and may he lead a life worthy of your blessings. Amen.
Okay, buddy, the good news for you and everyone out here is that I've already cried. So I'm not going to do that anymore. Okay. Aiden, A-Train, my precious boy, cherry on top of our Mokotov family sundae. We have lots of nicknames for you, and the precious boy who has infused our lives with love, laughter, and energy. You are a true blessing, a true gift, not just to your parents, but to your family, your coaches, and your friends, making each day better and brighter because of your presence. You have a contagious smile and boundless energy, a desire to live life to the fullest. From the time you were a toddler, you demonstrated an interest in running and jumping and kicking balls. You tinkered with basketball and flag football, and you were very good at them, but ultimately focused on your one true passion, which is, of course, soccer. The commitment you have shown for the sport that you love is a master class for all of us in discipline and dedication. Your willingness to accept criticism, to work on your weaker points, to strengthen your skills, and become your best self reflects your character both on and off the field. You have made many sacrifices to chase down your dreams, and I think I speak for everyone in this room when I say how much we admire your tenacity. But today, Aiden, is about more than just you. Standing on the bima in front of our friends and our family, I am reminded of the generations of Jews who stood before us and the generations who will come after us. You are a part of that sacred chain, a crucial link that connects the past, the present, and the future. Judaism, after all, is not just about the individual. It is about the collective, the community, the group as a whole. In other words, l'dor v'dor. From generation to generation. This is the first Jewish principle I want to impress upon you today. The second principle is tikkun olam. Loosely translated, tikkun olam means repairing the world, performing acts of kindness to heal the world, to heal the world. It is not strictly a Jewish concept. It is a human concept, a value that Judaism embraces. Today, on your bar mitzvah, as you become an adult in the eyes of our community, I encourage you to perform your own acts of kindness, to take the world from where it is to where it needs to be. Aiden, you can be the light that shines onto others, bringing goodness and justice into the world. You can level the playing field so that all people, no matter their race, their religion, their gender, their ethnicity, have access to food, shelter, medicine, and clothing. Whether you raise awareness for soccer in the streets, make lunches for families overcoming the cycle of poverty, or volunteer at a food pantry, you have the power to spread kindness. You have the power to heal the world and make it a more fair and equitable place. Yes, I do believe that one person can make a difference in this world. You and everyone watching in this sanctuary or on Zoom can heal the world. One meal, one book, one blanket, one soccer ball at a time. Of course, the work is never done. In Pirkei Avot, a compilation of ethical Jewish teachings, we are told, it is not your responsibility to finish the work, but neither are you free to desist from it. That means you have an ethical obligation to pursue justice, to do the work of abolishing oppression, poverty, and hunger. Every act of kindness that you perform will heal others. Continue to do good. Make a meal for someone who is hungry. Raise awareness for soccer in the streets. Collect coats and canned goods for people who are vulnerable. Support your causes. The choice of charitable recipients is yours to make. My only ask is that you never, ever stop caring. Finally, I want to offer a blessing so that your life may be filled with love, happiness, and good health. I packed a lot of parental advice and Talmudic wisdom in this blessing, so listen closely. May you embrace life to the fullest. May you be curious and explore. Find your passion and pursue it. Make a daily effort to be your best self. Be a good and loyal friend. Have the courage and the wisdom to surround yourself with good people. Do your part to heal the world. Honor your Jewish heritage. Remember your ancestors and those who made it possible for you to enjoy your religious freedom and become a bar mitzvah today. Aiden, may God smile upon you, bathe you in sunlight, and embrace you with love. Everyone in this room is cheering you on to succeed. We believe in you, Aiden, and we believe in your abilities. Now, all you have to do is spread your wings and fly.
Julie and Jeff, stay up here with us. Sophia and Isabel, come on up. Community, please rise on page 40 for Elenu. Aiden, will you lead your family up to the ark? And with your sisters, open the ark on page 40.
Alenu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula li'otzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor alenu kechol hamunam, va'anachnu korehim, u'mishpachavim umudim, u'lifnei melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'ne'emar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol haaretz, V'yom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shema, U'shema, U'shema,
Close the ark. Congregation, please be seated. Family, right up here to the Amud with me. Friends, we are approaching the end of our service. You've got Mourner's Kaddish on page 41. Aiden, as we talked about when we were passing the Torah, the idea that the Jewish generations are here and smiling because of what you are doing and what you're leading is apropos and very, very, very true and present. Your family on this particular day invokes certain names that were and are important to your family. And by invoking their names, we bring their presence here, and we add to the holiness of the moment, the service, and the day. Your family, particularly on this day, is remembering Bessie and Maxwell Andelman, Edith Arieff, Betty and Alex Arieff, Ethel and Abraham Caswell, Pauline and Jack Mokatoff, and David Reddick. If you are in the first 30 days of mourning a loved one's passing, the Shloshim period, we'd ask you to rise now, either in the sanctuary or at home, and be recognized. If you're in the first year of mourning a loved one's passing, we ask you to rise now so we can recognize you. Please remain standing. If you are commemorating a yard site, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing this Shabbat, we ask you to rise now. And if it is your custom to rise either in solidarity or for the 6 million who have no one to say Kaddish for them, please do so now. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 41. Yikadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, v'yalma divra kirotei v'yamlich machutei, v'chayechon v'omechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael, v'galav yizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei almaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit raman v'yit naseh. Vita dar, vita le, vita la, shmei de kutsha, b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'charta v'nechamata, dami rambe alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'imru mav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Oseh shalom b'imru hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
If you're seated, please rise for Kiddush and Hamotzi. Aiden and family, if you'll take a big step forward, right where you are.
Oh, right where you are. Never mind. Rabbi's coming to you.
I'm coming to you. Come this way, Aiden. There you go. Okay, and family. And Aiden, you're raising this glass, and in doing so, sanctifying the day and what you're doing with us here together. Can't they?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim. Everyone take a drink.
And in a moment, you can put your cups right up here. In a moment, Aiden, you and your sisters and your family are going to lead us with Hamotzi. Following Hamotzi and a Mazel Tov Simatov, we're going to open these center doors. I'm going to ask that you let family go right into the social hall, then everybody file in right after. I think we're going right into the Hora and montage, and that's where we're going to greet everybody. Does that sound good? Okay. Family, here we go.
Hands on the challah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Yeilanu, 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 Uvechol Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Uvechol Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Uvechol Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Uvechol Yisrael.
Mazel tov, everybody. Mazel tov.